Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're talking about what to buy first when on a budget for Star Wars Armada. We are going to be looking at everything for the Republic faction of the Clone Wars Armada factions that are out there. So if you are a Republic player or a player of all factions and just want to hear my thoughts on what you should buy first if you're on a budget and trying to get into Star Wars Armada, this is the video for you. Now, there haven't been a whole lot of retail releases for Armada lately. There actually haven't been any at all lately, but there have been new releases in the ways of Rapid Reinforcements, which is Atomic Mass Games' way of creating new content for Armada and having it be absolutely free through PDF print and plays. And so there are new ways to approach this game, and I thought it was time to do another What to Buy First series for Star Wars Armada. Now, we're probably not going to be getting anything new for Star Wars Armada for at least midway through 2024, so I feel like this is a good series of videos that will be useful for quite a while. So if you are new to the game, or maybe a veteran player looking to try out a different faction, we're going to talk about what to get into first. So that's all said and good. Now, a little admin stuff. If you guys are brand new to the channel, I'd love to have you stick around and subscribe. We do giveaways all the time. We're going to be announcing the latest giveaway winner at the end of this video, so stick around, and new giveaways will be starting shortly. We do giveaways all the time, and to enter to win any of those, you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. So I want to go ahead and jump on over to our core set, which is not necessarily the first option that you would necessarily want to buy if you're starting with the Republic. But I put it up here because it's a great way to ease into the discussion. Most games all came with core sets that involved, Empire and Rebels, or, two opposing factions, and forced you to kind of get ships that maybe you didn't want to play if you were a single faction player, but you had to get the core set anyway, because it had, all the stuff that you needed, the dice and the damage deck and the rules and the cards and the cardboard and the movement tokens and the range rulers and all of that stuff. So a lot of people, ended up getting an Armada core set. Now, if you are maybe an older player looking to get back into the game or whatever, there's a pretty good chance that you may have one of these already. Well, this is a good thing if you happen to have one of these already, because it is already in your collection, so there's no additional cost to you. But on the other hand, you're also going to get extra play materials, extra dice, extra movement tools, and a lot of that sort of stuff. All of those things are good to have extras of. And if you are playing a Republic faction, then you will have use for the Victory Star Destroyer that comes in the core set. I'm not going to suggest you run out and buy a classic core set for that purpose, but a lot of people happen to already have them. They are also floating around, and if you happen to find one, if you find like a really good deal on one, it's not necessarily a bad idea to pass up. It's great if you plan on playing more than one faction, because you're going to be getting a couple of different ships. You're going to be getting some Rebel and an Imperial ship that is also usable through Rapid Reinforcements as a Republic ship. But on top of that, you're going to get extra dice and cards and damage cards and things like that. So you're going to get a lot of extra stuff in here. If you happen to find one super, super cheap somewhere, or if you happen to already have one, it's not a completely wasted effort. But that's not our first buy. I want to go ahead and talk about our first buy into the game for new players, and that's going to be the Galactic Republic Fleet Expansion Pack. Now, they call this a Fleet Expansion Pack, but this is really a starter in the way that you would start a game if you were looking to play against somebody else who already had stuff. This isn't necessarily a starter for being a two-player starter. You can't, you're not going to have separatist ships in here, so you're not going to be able to play, remake the Clone Wars with just this starter. This is for you to build your fleet. So this is really your starter here. Now, it's $109, depending on what you're budgeting for in terms of a new game. That might seem high to you. That might seem low to you, depending on your background and where you're coming from. I'll tell you that with my background, that's not a bad price for a starter, but it is higher than some other games. For example, X-Wing A lot of Armada players came from X-Wing. That was a high price when you were used to like maybe what used to be like a $29 starter. Although, granted, these are bigger ships and it's a bigger game, and times have changed and prices have gone up over the years. So that there's all things to consider. A lot of times, though, you can find this on sale at a discount. Now, what you're getting in here is you're getting 3 ships for the Republic. This is also the only place that you can get those consular, those C-70 Chargers. The only place you can get that Acclamator ship as well. They did not ever get around to coming out and releasing these as individual expansions. So these are not available anywhere else outside of the starter. Now, if $100 isn't an extreme amount of money for you to be spending on a starter, it's not necessarily a bad idea to pick up more than one of these, especially if you can get it on sale. I believe that it's always a great idea to have extra dice. This will come with the dice and movement tools and range, all kinds of just really great things that you need to play the game. A damage deck, as a matter of fact, this comes with a lot of dials. When the Clone Wars came out, the decision was made that future ships that would come out would not come with certain things that kind of partially increased the cost of manufacturing them, and also the weight of the boxes and all of these other things. Part of that was command dials, which are these plastic dials that go in here, as well as speed dials, extra bits that have extra plastic pieces. And so, but this being basically a starter box, this does have, like, you can get 10 of these, command dials, and which is more than you need for this box, but you're going to get an awful lot in here. And that is going to fuel most of the fleets that you'll have. So, again, it's pretty cool. It's unlikely that you need a whole lot more than that. There are some fleets that can use more than that, but that's a pretty good amount to have. This is just a real good pack. You're getting, of course, everything you need to play against somebody who already has stuff. If you're looking for a proper 2-player starter, a whole game in a box, then you'd want to go back to that classic starter. And then, because the Clone Wars doesn't have the whole game in a box option. The idea of the Clone Wars is you're going to start with just one faction and then build up from there. It saves you money in the long run if you're a single faction player, because now all of a sudden you got 3 ships. Like, just for perspective, if you were an Imperial player and you bought this, you'd spend $120. You'd have only 1 ship. Only 1 ship. It's kind of a little bit problematic. Also, you're getting some Squadrons in here too. You're getting some V-19s, so you're getting a little bit of the whole kind of picture for the Republic, which is pretty cool. Now, typically, people want to expand on their fleets and do a little bit more than they already have with the game. And so as you're looking to expand on the game and taking into account rapid reinforcements, I think it's an important thing to pick up the Venator. And I think it's possibly important to pick up multiple Venators. First off, this is an iconic ship. This is very recognizable, and it's a beautiful ship, and it's a very versatile ship in the game. It can be a really fantastic squadron pusher, a great carrier ship. It can also be a great workhorse, a great flag ship. They can move moderately fast. They don't have the best maneuverability, but they're just a great ship altogether. But rapid reinforcements has really pushed this ship into the limelight more so than it ever was before, with the introduction of Anakin Skywalker as a commander who really, really excels with Venators. He's one of the most popular commanders, any game has ever seen. He's absolutely extremely powerful for the game, and uses the Venator to make himself extremely powerful. So 2 or even 3 of these is definitely a suggestion for very, very strong lists. They're very, very popular, and they're fun to fly. Now, Venators don't have to be flown only with Anakin Skywalker. They're great with just about any commander. They're an all-around great ship. They're also the only large ship available to the Republic, and definitely help your Republic fleet look awesome. Now, as a large ship, they're a little bit more on the pricier side for a single ship expansion at $64.95. These are very popular. I don't think that you're going to see these on sale too much because they're a hot item right now. But if you do find one on sale, I definitely would suggest picking up one or at least two. I think two fits in a lot of builds. There's not as many 3 Venator builds that are super popular, although it is possible to run Anakin with triple Venator, or just triple Venator with a lot of other commanders as well. It is definitely a thing. They come with some good upgrade cards as well, but all in all, the Venator is just a great ship. It's probably the best ship the Republic has, and it also really helps you get that iconic look, and is a great supplement to your fleet starter. And I mean, if you've already got these ships, you want to add a big one, so you've got a small, a medium, and a large, and you get some really good looking fleets by adding the Venator to your available ships. Moving forward, Squadrons. We definitely want Squadrons in our Republic, and you're going to need that Republic Fighter Squadron pack. This is going to have your Jedi and your V-19s. It's going to have Y-wing bombers. It's going to have a couple more. I'm sorry, and your Delta 7s. There's V-19s, which are not the Jedi fighters, but you got your Delta 7s, you got your V-19s, you got your Jedi fighters, you got your clone pilots, you got your bombers and the Y-wings, and you've got ARC 170s in here as well. You're getting your generics and your named pilots in here. These are very popular. Most people will pick up at least 2 of these fighter squadrons. Now you're getting 8 fighter squadrons in this, 2 of each type. Typically, you don't need the V-19s as much in here because you already get a couple of V-19s in the Republic Fleet starter box, basically. But yeah, like for the ARC 170s, the Y-wing bombers, and also the Jedi, it's really nice to have a second box of Armada Republic fighter squadrons. So if you're a fan of the fighter squadrons and you want to have those fighters to push and treat your capital ships more like carriers supporting these, then I would definitely recommend getting 2 of these. If you already have played Armada and you're not a very squadron-heavy person, you can totally skip this. But I mean, I'd at least pick up one because you get a lot of variety with at least that one. But again, a lot of players will eventually want 2 of these, so that would be my suggestion to really round out your fleet and give you a ton of options. Regardless of whether you want to go with just a couple of ARC 170s to have like a strong and hard to kill presence, or if you want to run like a big, large, squadron fleet, or if you want to run like 4 different Jedi, you can do that too. So it's there's a lot of really cool options with this pack. Moving forward, the upgrade card collection. This is one of the best value that exist in the game, and the reason it's a little bit lower on my list is just because when you're starting in the game, you don't necessarily need every upgrade card right away, and because you're joining the game at the point of the Clone Wars, you're able to get that Squadron pack, that Republic Squadron pack. That starter box basically does have an awful lot of upgrades in there, so you're already going to have an awful lot of upgrades. And hopefully now that you've played a couple of games, you're realizing, hey, I want to see what other upgrades are out there. The upgrade card collection, this has 2 of just about every upgrade in the game, with a couple of exceptions. There's some things there's more than 2, some things there's less than 2, but the upgrade card collection, very, very cool. This also included point cost and errata for most of the cards that exist. So if you're an old school player, it's definitely worth picking these up. For one, you're getting extra copies of certain really rare cards, like if you wanted a Spinal Armament, you don't have to buy another MC80 Liberty expansion to get that. You're gonna have I think 2 of them in here. So like it's just a great way to get all the upgrade cards all together. This was one of the best things they ever did for Star Wars Armada, so very cool stuff. Next up, the Pelt, the Pelta class frigate. Now, this is a smaller ship for the Republic. It's also the last ship for the Republic expansion on our list. It was part of the second wave of Clone Wars stuff and kind of the last wave of expansions that Fantasy Flight Games produced for Star Wars Armada. It's also my least favorite expansion of the Clone Wars. I feel like it's trying to play a battlefield role that is kind of already played by other ships. It's sort of in between what the Consular can do and what kind of everybody else can do, and I don't feel like it really excels in too many of those regards. It's it really works best when pushing a small amount, like a light amount of squadrons, and having a little bit of support for your fleet, while also having a little bit of firepower. And so, but that's typically roles that I don't usually like to run. But it's also pretty iconic, and differently than the Rebel version of the Pelta. This one has the wings closed, so it looks really cool. Like, it's a cool looking ship for sure. Very iconic and, recognizable. So I like that aspect of it quite a bit. But as far as actual gameplay, not my favorite. Now, granted, it's important to pick up every ship because you're going to be getting cards. And you're going to have commanders and officers and upgrades. And, I think like Mercy Mission, and Tarkin comes in here, and he's a pretty good commander for the Republic. So, like, there's definitely reasons to pick it up, even if it's not one of your favorite ships, or even if you're not really digging the small but tanky support kind of ship that it can be. It's still worth picking up, but definitely doesn't have to be first on your list. And we're kind of nearing like the tail end, because that's kind of everything that you might need. I am going to put the Victory class Star Destroyer box on here for one big reason. If you didn't already have the classic starter, which many players might not if they're just getting into the game, there's definitely value in owning at least a single Victory, because rapid reinforcements, the first rapid reinforcements that came out, basically gave you a print and play card where you can now run the Imperial's Victory class Star Destroyer in the Republic. It's one of those ships that kind of was present for both time frames. Certainly more recognizable as an Imperial ship, but did exist towards the end of the Clone Wars. And so you can run the Victory class Star Destroyer as a Republic ship. And it's a differently looking ship. It plays a little different than in the Republic than it does elsewhere. It also happens to be a Star Destroyer, and it can take some upgrades that are that have very few options. So it's pretty cool. Not the greatest ship ever for the Republic, but it's a pretty cool ship for the Republic. And then if you like to repaint too, you can always paint it up in Republic colors or put red stripes and stuff like that on it. So a lot of people have done cool things like that. Now, this is listed at $44.99, but the Victory has been one of the least popular ships in Armada for a long time. This one, you're probably likely to find this one on sale in a ding and dent or scratch and dent bin or something like that. I've seen these for like as cheap as $10 before. So, so be on the lookout for a Victory that's on sale. Or if you have a friend who's been playing Armada for a long time, they may just have a spare Victory to loan you or something like that. So so it's worth having a Victory, but I wouldn't jump through too many hoops to get it. As you're playing the game more and more, there are campaigns that have come out. There's the Rebellion in the Rim campaign, as well as the Corellian Conflict campaign. Now, both of these campaigns were designed for the Galactic Civil War. They were designed for Rebels and Empire. But there's nothing really stopping you from just playing them with Clone Wars factions also. They're basically really cool systems that allow you to play a kind of a growing campaign type game. If you have a group that's going to be meeting up and playing perhaps once a week or once every other week or something like that, and you want to be able to have a longer game that's going to take into account your individual wins and losses and reward you and punish you for them and have a growing narrative, these are really cool packs. And not only are they cool campaigns, but they also come with extra upgrades. Most of what they come with that's extra is for the Republic, for the Rebels and for the Empire. Extra squadrons and some other upgrade cards and things like that. But there are different mission cards, right? So your objective cards that come with these will impact your Clone Wars games as well. And they're good to have in your collection for sure. Because after you've kind of exhausted the objective cards that are in the core set, you're having some new objectives and new ways to play totally makes your game have some fresh life breathed into it. So pretty cool stuff. Those are worth considering once you've played for a while and once your budget has grown. Lastly, if you're not going to pick up more than one core set, I would definitely suggest picking up a dice pack. if you can. Look, a dice. It's the amount of dice they give you in any starter is not enough. You're going to run into situations where you need a second dice pack. So I definitely suggest it. Although if you have an Armada addict friend, they may have some spare dice that they can just loan you as well. Same thing goes for a lot of these other things like the maneuver tool. A lot of people who play will have more than one maneuver tool, and typically they have it because those of us who've been playing for a while have picked up more than one starter over the years. Whether it be multiple different faction starters, the classic starter, sometimes multiple copies of each. We'll have a lot of these maneuver tools, but sometimes, you're not into that and you just want to have a second maneuver tool. What's great about having an extra maneuver tool is that you can have one that's a full length at 4, but you can build another one that's shorter. Sometimes you're making shorter moves and you don't want to lay out a really long maneuver tool. It allows you to have, pre-built shorter movement tools, and it's really a heck of a convenience. And this is something that people who've played the game quite a bit will attest to. It's really nice having like a 2-speed maneuver tool just ready to go. It's super helpful. And lastly, out of things that are available, the thing I suggest virtually nobody pick up is the Armada dial pack. This is coming. This was the plan for the future. That there would be many more waves of Armada ships that would come out without dials, and if somebody wanted to, run a fleet that they didn't have enough dials for, they could pick up this pack. It was a way to kind of save costs on the ships, and keep that, basically it lets you kind of buy your game a la carte a little bit more, which was really cool. Problem is, we really never got to see enough expansions come out to make that a reality. So this is almost worthless. There are 4 ships in the entire game that don't have dials, but the people who play the game have way more than enough dials to provide for those ships. The only way you would really need to pick this up is if you skipped the starters altogether and just started bought 3 Venators and said, I'm going to run triple Venator, I don't need anything else. Well, then you would need, a dial pack or something like that. But realistically, I don't really see that happening. I don't recommend doing that. You always want to start with a starter because it's got so many other things that you're going to need: range tools, damage decks, all kinds of other stuff like that. So you'll have enough dials in the starter, unless you're trying to play like maybe a 2,000 point game. Because in a standard 800 point game, you just won't need this. But you have the ability to play larger and larger games. It is possible that you might eventually need one of those if you're playing big enough games and you're a new player. Or if you have an accident and lose your dials or something like that, then this is a way for you to replace those for a little bit cheaper cost than having to buy a new starter or something like that. This also comes with speed dials and some extra pass tokens and things like that. Things you're not likely going to need. But this is the last thing on my list. So there you have it, folks. That's what to buy first, and really everything, and what to buy first and what to buy last if you are on a budget playing Star Wars Armada and you're playing the Republic. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this list. I will be doing these for every faction, and for the Rebels and the Empire, I probably won't list every single ship because there's a lot of expansions, but I'll focus those on the highlights a little bit more. But since there are so few for the Clone Wars, I wanted to kind of list everything and give you my take on it. So hopefully you found that helpful. Now, if you are a new player, you'll definitely want to head over to atomicmassgames.com and go to the Armada section, because there is also rapid reinforcements there. It's a PDF document that they give you the rights that you can print it out for your personal use, and it's got extra cards, extra ship cards, some new commanders, some new squadrons, things that you can use to augment your fleets and to change them up a little bit. That's why the Victory is in here. It's an Imperial ship that I'm listing for the Republic because the rapid reinforcements allows it. It's official. It's part of the rules. They're legal for tournament play and everything on down from there. So definitely check those out. Now we're going to do the fun part. We have a giveaway winner to announce. So congrats to our winner today. Is going to be Adam Chandler 2113. Congratulations, Adam. Go ahead and shoot me an email at mailcrabbok@gmail.com and I'll get you taken care of there. and that's going to win you a $25 Amazon gift card. You can put that towards a gaming expansion of your choice. And everybody else, thank you for entering. We are going to be doing another giveaway soon, so if you didn't win, don't worry, you have plenty more opportunities. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and stick around for more great content. You also, if you are interested in playing Armada, and maybe you don't have anybody to play against, I have a free AI system over on Crabbok.com. You can check it out, and it's a whole basically print and play way for you to be able to play against against the AI. Practice your fleet movements and practice your build before you take it to a store and play somebody else. See if you can beat the AI. If you can beat the AI, then maybe give the AI some more points and then try again. It's a pretty fun way to practice your fleet builds. All right, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely out of this world and help make this whole channel possible. So thank you for your continued support. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.